They vanished into the ice without a sound. On a gray morning in May 1845, two British ships, HMS Erebus and HMS Terror, slipped from the docks at Greenhithe and headed north, disappearing into the fog. Their mission, to chart the final unknown section of the fabled Northwest Passage. On board were 129 men, years of provisions, and the best naval technology Britain could offer. Steam engines had been fitted for ice navigation. Hulls reinforced with iron. They carried libraries, silverware, wine, even an organ. It was to be a triumph of civilization over wilderness. But within weeks, the sea ice began to close around them. Under the command of Sir John Franklin, the ships made their way through the icy channels of Baffin Bay, then into Lancaster Sound. After that, nothing. No signals, no messages, no sightings. The Arctic had swallowed them whole. For the first year or two, there was no panic. The Admiralty expected the crew to overwinter in the ice. But by 1847, whispers of concern grew louder. Franklin's wife pressed for a search. In 1848, the first expedition set out. More would follow. Over the next decade, Britain poured resources into finding the lost men, but it wasn't rescue they were racing against anymore. It was history. That same year, 3 graves were found on Beechy Island, perfectly preserved in the permafrost. The bodies, still clothed in their uniforms, bore faces twisted in pain. Decades later, when exhumed, they showed signs of scurvy, pneumonia, and acute lead poisoning. Something inside those ships was slowly killing the crew. Then came the stories. Inuit hunters spoke to John Ray, a Scottish explorer searching for Franklin's men in 1854. They told him of white men seen dragging sleds across the ice, some falling where they stood. They spoke of cannibalism. Bones later recovered bore knife marks and signs of being cracked open for marrow. In a world still steeped in Victorian pride, the idea that Royal Navy sailors had turned to eating one another sparked outrage. The Admiralty denied it. Newspapers denounced the Inuit as liars, but the bones never lied. The only written evidence of what happened came from a note found in a stone cairn on King William Island. Dated April 25, 1848, it revealed that Erebus and Terror had become trapped in ice since September of 1846. Franklin had died the previous June. Now Captain Crozier and the remaining 105 survivors were abandoning ship to march south. They would never reach safety. Searchers continued to find skeletal remains for decades. Some had collapsed beside makeshift boats dragged across the ice. Others were found kneeling near kettles and broken oars. Some appeared to have been hastily buried. Others left where they died. Time and the cold had erased their names. And the ships? Gone. For over 160 years, Erebus and Terror remained hidden beneath the Arctic Sea. Their final resting places became a ghost story. 2 spectral hulks frozen under the ice, lost forever to silence. Then, in 2014, against all odds, the HMS Erebus was found, sitting upright in the shallow waters of Queen Maud Gulf. The Terror followed 2 years later, even more intact. Dishes still sat on tables. Drawers still held books and maps. Boots were still tucked beneath bunks. Inside, it was as if the men had simply stepped out and never returned. But the truth lay in the silence. The ships had become tombs, preserved by the cold, untouched by time, sealed in the same white void that claimed their crew. Historians still debate what truly doomed the expedition. Was it bad weather, contaminated food, lead solder in the canned goods, a slow collapse of morale and health? No one can say for certain. The only thing known is that the ice, indifferent and endless, took them all. The Erebus and Terror set out to chart the edge of the known world. Instead, they became it. Thank you for listening to The Sunken Ledger. Subscribe for more true stories from the depths.